Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Scale Model Kit Review. Welcome back to another exciting installment of Build the Batmobile by FanHome. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review Studio, and welcome back to another installment of the Build the Batmobile. This is from the classic 1966 TV series. Yes, this is the Batmobile. And currently it's not available from FanHome, but it was a sellout pretty much, and it's a very popular build. There's all kinds of aftermarket and stuff for this. That are available for those of you that want to put those on yours. I am building this for FanHome, so I'm not installing any of the aftermarket with mine. Mine's pretty much going to be box stock. If there's any adjustments, I'll let you know what they are. I try to give you the best way of assembling this without you tearing your hair out, because there are some parts of this that can cause that for you. But anyway, I am currently working on Pack 18, and in Pack 18 I received 5 more phases, phase 92 through 96. Now, FanHome did cut down our amount of phases from 6 to 5, and I explained the reason why in my previous video for Pack 17. So head over to Pack 17. I'll talk about that there if you haven't already done that or seen that. And just keep in mind that FanHome does keep the customer in mind, and they like to give you the lowest cost possible per month for your subscriptions for these cars. So that was the case here. Going from 6 to 5 brought the cost down just a little bit for you, made it more affordable. So let's look at the magazine here first, and this is for phase 92. And great magazine. They talk about the TV show, and we have an episode guide here. So we have episode 92 from season 2, and flop goes the Joker. And then they get into a great Batman comics, Robin year 1, and this was from 2000. And then Batman year by year, Batman 12. This is part 2. Great articles too. I love these comic books here. Everything that's highlighted there, fantastic. And great there. Then we have our parts that we received in this phase, and the step-by-step instructions over on the right. Multicolored, easy to follow, easy to understand. So let's go ahead and look at the parts, or the phase parts, that came with Pack 18. And we got 92, and that's the top half of the rear of the car. Phase 93, the rear windshield. Phase 94, the trim for the rear windshield. Phase 95, the rear exhaust stacks. Those are cool. And phase 96 is the rear boot panel. Very cool. Let's get started. Alright, so for phase 92, I've been waiting for this, and I can't wait to install it, but this is the rear body panel, the top part of that panel. We're going to simply install that on the other 2 panels we assembled in the previous video. And CM screws are used for that. Once that's installed, we're going to go ahead and put that aside a little bit. I think we're going to install the rear windshield onto it. So let me get the parts. I'll be right back. Alright, here's the parts. Let's open this up. Whopper ticky in a blister pack here. Again, I'll take it out. Very nice. Okay, put that aside. CM screws, and here is our rear top panel, the wings. Very nice there. Made of metal. And appears to be straight. No problems whatsoever with that. Very nice. Again, the other side there. Okay. And welcome back. So I went ahead and got my piece of foam that I use for building a lot of these kits, and I did purchase this foam off of Amazon. Comes in a very large roll, so it's very handy to have. Even if you don't use it all, you can always use it for shipping kits or shipping stuff to people. Very nice foam, very useful for that. So I want to be extra cautious with this and not scratch any of the paint or do any marring or anything like that. So bring over the top part that we received with this stage, our phase 92, and you can see it has some parts that go down on it here, and they'll get screws in them. Those tabs that are sticking out, we need to line those up with what's already there. So it's just a matter of pretty much falls down in place, and there's no issue there whatsoever. So once that is done, I'll flip it over. Okay, and we'll go ahead and put our CM screws into this, and it's going to go into numerous places here on the bottom, and I'll go ahead and put those in, and I'll be right back. I'm going to use 3-in-1 oil on my screws. Okay, so as I put my screws in, I wrapped my hand around the panel as such. I put 3-in-1 oil on the screw, and I started it off with a 0 screwdriver, pH 0 screwdriver, and then I got them all installed as tight as I could with that particular size screwdriver, and then I took and followed up with a pH 1 screwdriver, which is a little larger, gives a little better bite, and I was able to tighten them down. So it looks great. It helps to put some pressure on both of those panels, squeeze them together while you put those screws in, and it works out a lot better that way. So all the screws are in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Turn it over, and that's how that looks there. Looks great. So that's all I do with phase 92. Let's head over and get started on phase 93. Alright, so for phase 93 I'll work on the rear window, and we're going to install a few parts on here, indicator lights, and these are non-functioning lights, and we'll put it aside. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 93. Let's get a closer look. Alright, here's the rear window. Very nice. And the lights made out of clear red plastic. Very nice there. And the little corner trim pieces. I'll give you a closer look at those. Alright, so we have to cut off our little lights off the tree. Use a good pair of sprue cutters here. go. It's easier to do this with your fingers versus some tweezers. If you do tweezers, they could fly off into your carpet of oblivion and you'll lose them forever. So there you go. And they were pretty tight, so you don't really need to put any glue or anything on those. So they look great. And there's a closer view of those. So that's all we do with phase 93. Let's head over and get started on phase 94. Phase 94, we received the rear window frame, or what I call the chrome trim pieces for the rear window. Very nice there. And we're going to go ahead and install those frame pieces, making sure that when fitting the frames and installing the window, be careful to apply pressure evenly so the window does not snap. Also avoid marking the window. Now I believe they gave us some double-sided tape with this too, so we'll pay attention to that. That's going to help us along with this. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 94. Here's your trim and the double-sided tape in there. Let's get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts. Here are the chrome trim pieces, or the frames as they call them. They are made of plastic. Very nice. Here's the double-sided tape. It is 3M brand tape and SM screws. Okay, so the instructions don't talk about what to do with this tape, but I'm pretty sure we want to put it on the frame pieces to help hold those onto the window. Now we'll simply peel off one side and we'll leave the other side on there until we have it installed on the frame. Okay, bring over the frame and it's going to go down in between those notches. You see that? Okay. And I'm going to put these on throughout, taking care that I have enough to do both of them, both frame pieces. I'll be right back. Alright, so I've already installed one. We have a total of 9 of these, and that's the perfect amount for both frames. I'll show you what I did when I come back. I cut the last piece of double-sided tape strip into 3 pieces to best fit in the spots that are smaller. So like on this part here, that longer piece will go there. And then those smaller pieces are going to go on each side right here. And to show you what I did with the tape strips, I applied 2 on this side on the aft frame piece, and like I said, I did cut down the one strip to fit in between right here, and then 2 more on the other side. And on the front trim piece, I put a tape strip right there, one right there, 2 small pieces right there, one right there, and then one right there. Go ahead and just peel the backing, and it will leave the double-sided tape behind. You can see that there. Okay, so I have my trim piece here, and you want to have the trim facing up, the chrome part facing up, and of course your window facing up. Now I am going to approach this. Trim is going to insert above those tabs on the back, so I'm going to go down at an angle right here and put it down on those back part, the back 2 tabs, as you can see. and then I'm going to line up the sides. And everything should snap right in. Just like that on that side. Now, being very careful, I'm pushing forward on the back here, right there with my thumb. I'm pushing forward on it, so that way these can insert. Alright, so everything appears to be snapped in. A little fiddly, but I got it. Being very careful, just to make sure everything is lined up and pushed down all the way. Let me give you a closer view. Okay, you can see it's pushed down all the way, including the back. You want that pushed down, snapped in. Same with back here. Push down here on the back edge and all the way across. Now I'll work on the front piece next. Alright, so the front trim piece snapped right on. You want to have it that your flat part on the trim piece is facing forward and everything's snapped in place. Looks really good. And that tape definitely helps out. Now we'll go ahead and put on our corner pieces that we put the little lights in on the previous phase, right here. Okay, those corner pieces are marked with a left and a right on the back side. Okay, put the left one in first, and it should just snap right in. Alright, so I did get it to go in. It snapped in. I used some magnifying visors to help line up the tabs to the holes, but it looks good. It's holding in place. No glue or anything is required for that. And there's the other side. Same thing. Snapped right on in. Okay, so we'll go ahead and slot this into the back of the car where it belongs. I have to say that the tape does help out immensely to keep your trim in place once it's snapped in, so I hope I helped you out with that. Okay, I brought over the car, and we'll go ahead and slot in our window into this. We have two tabs on the back that will go in from underneath, and you just want to push them back all the way, and then lightly, with not much force, do the edges, the side pieces, and it should just snap right in. Once that's done, then we need to turn it over and put our 4 screws in underneath here. Okay, now you want to go ahead and support the car on your lap while you put those screws in, not to put any pressure on your glass so you don't break it. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll put my screws in to these 4 spots and I'll be right back. And the other way of doing it, instead of doing it on your lap, is just turn the car over on its side and don't put any pressure on the glass. Then you can put your SM screws into this. I went ahead and put a little 3-in-1 oil onto mine, and it should all line up. And just screw them down there. Good there. Check that one for tightness. That's good there. And the other 2 right there and right there. And there you go. That completes phase 94. Window looks great. Let's get started on phase 95. Here's a breakdown of the parts we received with phase 95. And these are the exhaust stacks, 1 long, 2 short, and the mounting bracket for those, along with some AM screws. We want to have the openings to those exhaust stacks facing aft, and I believe they're tabbed in so they can only go in one way. We want to have the longer one in the middle, the two shorter ones on the outside. We want to go ahead and mount those exhaust stacks to our body, the rear body area, from underneath with 2 AM screws. And that's what that will look like. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. Here's the parts for 95. They are cool looking. Let's get a closer look. AM screws, the mounting bracket, which is made of plastic, and the chrome exhaust stacks. 2 short ones, 2 long. These are made of metal and they're chrome plated. That is very nice. Look at that. That is impressive. Wow. They are super cool. Alright, so we'll go ahead and install the long one first. And like I said, it is notched. You can see that. And it only goes on one way. And just press fits. And the last one. It is a tight fit, which makes it nice. And there they look, very nice. Now we'll mount that to the body. Alright, so I brought over the body and I'm supporting it with my arm to demonstrate for you what we're going to do here. Now we want the exhaust stacks to face aft, so they're going to insert into those right there, and we're going to put on our 2 AM screws. I'll use 3-in-1 oil for those. Use the bigger screwdriver for this, my PH1 screwdriver. Gets a better bite on those screws, and they are both tight. Flip this over, and there we go. They look great. Wow, very impressive. Just the fact that they're metal is outstanding. They look great. And there you go. That completes phase 95. Let's head over and do the final phase for this video, phase 96. So for the final phase for pack 18, phase 96, work on the trunk lid, and these are all the parts we received with that. And we will install the hinges onto the lid, along with the trunk prop catch, or the rod that holds the trunk open. And then we'll go ahead and install that lid, the trunk lid, onto the body. And it should swing back and forth. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. Here's the parts for phase 96. Let's get a closer look. AM, CM screws, and the hinges themselves are made of metal, very nice. Gloss paint there. The prop bracket is also metal. We have some metal brackets here, and then the rear deck lid, or trunk lid, is made of metal, very nice. And these hinges are marked with a left and a right. And I'm installing the left one first. Used a bigger screwdriver with my PH1 screwdriver just to get a better bite on that AM screw, and that's how that looks. Looks great. Do the other side. I'm using my magazine to protect the paint finish. Nice and tight. And that's how that looks. Right side there and the left side over here. Now let's mount this to the car. But first we need to put the trunk prop catch on, and that's this metal piece right here. That's simply going to go down just like that, and another AM screw goes into that. There we go. Now we'll go ahead and mount this to the car. Bring over our trunk lid, and it's simply just going to go down on top just like that. And that's how that looks. Now we'll go ahead and mount the hinges to the car. So the best way to do this so we don't mess up anything or break anything, we'll just turn it on its side. And we're going to mount those hinge covers right here on top, just like that. Little metal brackets go in, and you can see that metal bracket. We'll put 2 cm screws into that. Alright, so both hinges are screwed down right there and right there. Everything lines up just fine there. We can open and close our trunk lid. Very nice. Turn this over. That's what it looks like from this side. Same thing. Open and close that. Very nice. I'll be right back. And that completes phase 96. Looks great so far. That completes pack 18. We have the back end of the car built pretty much. I look forward to 19. I'm sure we'll be installing this on the chassis very soon, but it looks great. If you think you'd like to get this for yourself, I know it's sold out, but head over to FanHome to see if it's available today, because this video will be seen, I'm sure, in the future. So head over to FanHome and see what other kits they have available. They have a lot of really nice cars and figures, Star Wars. Fantastic. Head over to their website. I put a link in the description below. Clicking on my link lets FanHome know you watched my videos. Well, I hope this was helpful to you, and I appreciate everybody who's made comments on my video and who has watched my video. It really means a lot to me. So with that, that completes pack 18. So happy modeling, and take care, everybody.